everybody. It is Cinnamon Cooney, your art Sherpa. Today, I have a really exciting live stream step by step. This is cool because you guys actually told me what I was going to paint. I didn't do any prep work. I didn't pre-paint it. I'm going to do it from my imagination. We had a vote going on in our Facebook group of some words to direct me. There were many words. What won, though, was Twilight Forest Magic Sparkle Stairs. So I got to come up with something that fits all those words that you think is awesome that you want to hang on your wall today. On the mic is my husband, John. He's going to help me make this the coolest fun live art class by making sure whatever crazy imaginative thing I come up with, the camera is all zoomed in on it so you can see the techniques, you can see the action. The things that I'm explaining make sense because you have the audio visual moment where you really understand how a technique is accomplished. Are you ready for this today, John? Oh, I'm going to give John a minute. He has no mic, so he can't say hello. This is a thing that happens sometimes. Catching the streams or getting the sound equipment to go can be a little bit of a challenge. One thing that I think is going to be really fun today is I'm going to continue to use the abstract acrylic so you guys see that, you know, you can get great paintings out of all paint. And this is a paint I do love, but again, it's not the highest, most expensive paint in the world, and yet still gives a great result. I am going to explain this so you can create it at home, and I have kind of an idea from the suggestions you guys gave me that's sort of percolating around, and also for a painting that you have asked me repeatedly to do, but I couldn't do because it was really somebody else's painting. But the concept, the idea of this was really stuck with me. So this will be totally different, but have a little bit of that there. So if you remember all that, you'll be like, oh, what a good homage to that. It was so important for everybody. Are you back on the mic yet, John?
I am. I had a connector.
Woo!
It was a connector that was bad.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for everyone who's here. The colors are listed in the description below. You can use the Naples yellow if you want. You can skip it if you don't want to use it. It's not going to be a make or break color on this particular painting. At the end, I may throw some neons in there if I feel like it. If not, I may not. We'll see where the painting is at. The painting will tell us. Well, you guys have told me. We haven't done this in a while. Now, no bubbles today, guys, because we did raise the money for them.
Yes.
It's funny that we had to fundraise for bubbles.
We have to locate them.
Well, no, I got them, but they're coming here. They're like in that, that new Amazon Prime that's like middle of May to sometime in June, maybe, possibly.
2 to 3 week.
If they don't refund my money, I'm on that. So we're waiting on the bubbles for that. I'm ready to get into it.
All right.
To the canvas.
To the canvas.
Okay. So weird thing changed here. My 9x12s did not make it, so I'm still on my 11x14 surface. Now, here's the thing. If you're painting in a 9x12 or an 11x14 or 22x28, you're really painting the same aspect ratio so you can size up and size down really easily. So don't worry about the size in this. We do have wishes.
Yay.
Pretty predictable what the wishes are that we're going to put into our magic canvas of magical forest with sparkles and twilight and stairs.
Yeah.
All right. So our wishes are relief for everyone under pressure from COVID-19. Whatever pressure that you're under from COVID-19, I think universally we're all experiencing some amount of pressure or not feeling completely okay. So much so that they're telling us it's okay to not feel okay. I feel like Mr. Rogers finally got in charge of the universe.
Yeah.
Win for Mr. Rogers.
But can we take a moment to say that? It is okay to not feel okay right now.
It is.
It's totally acceptable. And things are not normal. It's not how things should normally be. It's okay for it to feel weird. It will pass. It just will.
We're wishing for that.
It's not, we don't know how long, but it will pass.
We don't have any control over that, but we
don't.
do have control over what we do with our time and our feelings while we're waiting for it to pass.
That's right.
Painting and using our imagination is an excellent thing to do.
Yep.
Now, the next wish is that we get a vaccine for the coronavirus. That would be really cool, right? And then a nice return to a happy, healthy global economy where everyone around the world is okay. So those are good wishes, and I like that. Let's talk about the paint colors today. Okay, so I have CAD yellow medium. I've got phthalo green, phthalo blue. I've got my Docs purple, quinacridone magenta, CAD red medium. I have my Naples yellow light, which is the one that's the green yellow, titanium white, and Mars black. I am using the 11 colors from the set. I just don't think I'm going to need the ultramarine or the burnt umber for this one, so we're going to leave that to the side. One thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a nice big chunky brush, and I'm going to kind of erase my wishes into the canvas. Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
The water-soluble graphite pencil, so it goes nicely away.
They just blend right in.
Yes. And since it's twilight, that will work well for all of us in relationship to that. Now, magical landscapes, right? One of the things that we can do as artists in a magical landscape is to pick really unexpected colors. To say twilight, I felt like what we want to do is pick a little bit of a pink, kind of a purpley pink, and then move it into more of a night sky. So we have that sort of two worlds kind of effect in our distant trees. Uh-oh, I dropped my paper towels. No, look away while I get them.
Oh, where'd you go?
I'm getting my paper towels. There we go, back.
You're back?
So I'll put them in the little easel hole to hold them. Paper towels or to wipe off brushes. So I'm going to get one of my very favorite tools. You grab any big brush you have, but if I can recommend in your life, you bring into your world a synthetic mop.
What's a mop?
A mop is a rounded dome-shaped brush. It has a nice thick filament base, and it's very soft. And if you'll notice, it's kind of carved and rounded like this. Here's another version of it that you can get at Michael's. This is my favorite one, but this is pretty good too, guys.
One's green, one's blue.
This is very reasonable price point right here. But you can find these around. What you're looking for is a synthetic mop. Those of you who have a keen eye might go, that looks a little like a blending brush from my makeup jar. I like that. And that will work too. So I'm going to go ahead and just get this lightly wet.
Now,
lightly wet.
Once you grow acrylic, you can't go back.
Yeah, you can.
So if you use a brush in acrylic, then you can't.
It's pretty much that brush's life now. I'm gonna load this up with some white.
You can't go back to being a watercolor brush or go back to being a makeup brush. It's sort of once they make that transition, they don't go back.
It does seem to be there. I'm kind of priming the canvas with this little bit of white because I want a very soft effect. And the white is going to let my canvas be kind of a little bit damp. So that will improve the flow of my paint. Right? It's going to scare y'all how much of the painting I can do with this brush.
What's the
ultimate, it says ultimate varnish. I would slap anyone in my house who used it on varnish. I'd be like, what are you doing with the good brush?
Well, varnish is hard on a brush.
It is. It's super hard.
And
I'm
that's
gonna load up with a little bit of my magenta while this is still wet. I don't like to talk over John, and I'm so sorry, sweetie.
Oh, no. I'll ask you a question here in a second.
I'm going to grab a little Naples yellow to kind of give it that soft color. And let's come here with this pink. Isn't that lovely?
Yeah.
And you can see how the white really helped us. Didn't it help us?
It makes that blending happen.
It helped us. Oh, so nice. And I'll take it down I'll leave the third of the canvas unpainted. I'm going to get all Bob Rossi in my imagination space because that's always fun. Now I might come in here and get a little bit of my purple and a little bit of my pink again and kind of blend this in. And I'm going to just make these soft kind of curved strokes while the paint is still wet. And that's going to give like a dusting, isn't it?
It is.
A dusting of color kind of in the background. Oh, I like that. I like that. We're going to do some unexpected things here. I think I'm going to surprise you at least 3 times, and I hope you're surprised at what you can do. So you can see I'm using a very light pressure, and when I bring the brush across, right, I'm making sure that I'm not pressing into the canvas very hard. The paint is still wet, and that's what allows me to create a pretty good blend. I can always kind of dry my brush off, even soften that more. So see, that's pretty good. Now we need to get a really great kind of cool color up top. Got to rinse this out. And then here's the trick. I'm going to pull out the extra moisture.
Moisture,
which is why I don't like a goat mop. Goat mops hold too much water. They're fantastic for watercolor.
No goats?
Huh?
No goats.
No goats. Let's make a phthalo turquoise for our sky. I think that'll be a nice little kind of component. Little yellow in there.
So let me ask you on that. If you use a brush for varnishing,
Uh-huh.
can you continue to paint with it?
You can, but the honest truth is the varnish is going to be really hard on your brush. So the trick to this is, while I'm painting very quickly, adding this nice kind of turquoise element to my dusky sky, twilight sky, is that you've really got to wash out. I mean, you always have to wash your brushes out after every painting session, but with varnish, whenever you think the paint is out, it's not. It is not out, guys. It is still there.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. That's looking pretty good. Now I'm going to do something kind of interesting. I'm going to come in here with these two, more to a green. And I think down here at the base, I'm going to kind of green this lower third up a bit. Just a bit. And with the green, let it go into here. We're going to say maybe that this is low forest, even though we're going to, I think we'll probably create a hill and do some stuff. Now, see that rough edge?
Yes.
If I take a dry brush, look at me having so many mops.
How
Any dry brush will work. If you come back over this with a nice dry brush, you can see you can soften that line out quite a lot. It's totally doable. The other thing you can do is you can come back with a wet brush and soften it out quite a lot. The trick will be to just get all the pigment out that you can, and all the moisture out that you can. So tricks, tricks, tricks. There we go. We can come right back into here. If you get into the Naples yellow, if you do have this color, let's come here and add a little of this up here. Just a bit. And it greens out. It creates a bit of a glow. It not being a bright glow is going to help us really make it feel like it's a little later in the day. Because we want our forest to feel just a little more, a little extra, a little bit going on. All right. Make sure that that's all covered to the bottom. Guess what I got to do, guys?
Got to dry it?
I got to dry it and I got to look at it. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at this beautiful soft melange of colors.
Mm-hmm.
Right? This is a good time for you to do it too. And I'm going to try to find my forest in that space. Doesn't that sound fun and mystical and difficult to duplicate? But it's not going to be. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I will look over to our wonderful community of people and say hello to them all. While she doesn't use heat. No heat for the Sherpa. And we refer to that because, you know, is it just me? Or is it very loud? It seems like that's very loud. I can still hear a lot of the Sherpa hair drying. That must be, man, you can hear it all through my mic. I'm going to have to work on changing that. A little noisy. Sorry about that. But anyway, don't use heat. Heat's not good for your acrylic surfaces. It can mess things up. Kind of like loud air dryers that you can step on my microphone and it sound all bad. Make me feel self-conscious about my sound. Man. Anyway, I'll fix that later. So. That's interesting. Okay.
Here.
Yeah?
Yep.
Okay.
So I look at things and evaluate and I go, do I love it? And if I don't love it, I change it. And I get a little more of my Naples yellow light in my pink. And the reason is I just want this to be maybe a brighter pink up here. Even over the blue. We have a lot of trees we're going to be doing. It's just a nice thing to have sort of peeking out our foresty foliage. Because we're going to have some foresty foliage. Magical colors. You're our friends. All right. Now, stairs, say you guys, right?
Yes.
A while back, there was a painting shared again, with books as a staircase. And that has really captured everybody's idea. That is not a new thing. Books as a staircase. And I'm going to do some books as, not those books, not that staircase, but I'm going to do some books.
I have used books as staircases.
As a staircase.
And I've used books as many things.
And at first, I'm going to do some kind of weird, I guess I'm going to come in with, blue seems sort of kind of neutral. I'll be able to see it, but, you know, not. Let's stop our staircase here.
Hmm.
And then we're going to kind of come out this way a little bit. Maybe, and then, down to, let's come down to about here. And then we can perhaps, you know, give ourselves a bit of foliage and stuff to kind of work it out. I'm going to bring some lines in. The thing about the staircases is that they, you know, they're very much a perspective sort of thing. Right? But we've got books, right, in perspective. Now we're gonna make some books. I'm gonna sketch this loosely at first. Later, I'll make a traceable from this. So if drawing is really your challenge, but you want to end up doing this painting, watch now, take in the techniques, come back when the traceable is up, which will be imminently. Imminently. Let's come up here, and I would say this staircase could be just about the same kind of space. There we go. About just catching that right sort of thing. Because I have to show some of the books on the spines, I think. We'll see what I do.
We'll see.
Every time you go up, you will see less of the top of the stair and more of the base. You know, and then maybe we'll kind of change some directionality, perhaps just a little bit.
You foreshortening those stairs?
I am a little bit. So what I'm trying to do is just give the illusion that maybe these are changing direction just a bit.
So what is foreshortening anyway?
It is the use of perspective lines that create the sense of objects being close to us and far away from us. Now, up here, really what I'm going to be doing once we get up to these steps is just almost that kind of a thing. So we'll have the big books, you know, here, and I might make this one more prominent. And you can see how the blue is a nice color because I can really change my mind with it. I'm even coming with some purple and say this one is much bigger in its spine. That one can come right there. There we go. So we have that there. Now we need to have some, I think, foresty foliage and little bits of leaves. And I think actually I might be better off to paint in my stairs sooner than later.
Okay.
Because these are going to be really focal, right? Obviously, because they're an unexpected object in a space. And also because that way I can layer foliage around them and sort of create that sense of that magic, kind of foresty unicorn might hang around it.
Can I tell you something?
You can tell me anything.
Okay, so Desiree says...
Hi, Desiree.
So Cinnamon's not only taught me to paint, but she's also taught me to draw. If you're struggling to draw, really try her gridding steps to unlock. It helped me unlock a lot.
I'll grid this too, guys. If you guys love the gridding and this is like your favorite, because I think this is going to be some people's favorite painting we've done. So I predict that. All right. So we have several books, right? What is the first color of the book jacket, right? Because we want these to sort of stand out.
Yeah.
You know, as books in the forest. I think I'm going to take a little bit of my quinacridone.
Yeah, you got to go red or yellow.
You think red or yellow? I'm going to start with this sort of red pink.
They're power steps.
Yeah, and I'm going to come here.
That pinky step, that's good.
Now, this is going to really at first sort of show through. So when I see that, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to come around and do a trick.
You're going to dry it?
I'm going to dry it.
Okay.
I'm going to dry brush it white and then paint over it.
Okay. There we go. Okay. So, yeah, just don't use heat when you're doing these. Don't use heat on this because it can mess up your paint, especially in student paints, because student paints are more susceptible to that kind of stuff.
Actually, I'll do something even trickier than that.
What are you trickying?
I'm going to come in and make them all kind of black first, like grays, and then come back with color. I know that doesn't seem like that would work, but it'll work really, really well because it'll make these seem like leather-aged books.
Ooh.
I'll go ahead and kind of curve that out. Now, for me, what will make this special, what I would always do, whether I were on YouTube right now teaching some people, I don't know, did some people come?
There are
Learn
people.
how to make a book?
There are definitely people.
Right. So
Hundreds and hundreds of people.
hundreds and hundreds of people. That's always good. Right. So when you have that, you're going to want to create books that are meaningful to you. So I'm going to put the books up my staircase that were impactful to me. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You
You
know,
mean you have to put like copies of like Snow Crash and
well, yeah. That could be a book, but maybe it wouldn't be Snow Crash. I mean, Snow Crash was good, but maybe it wasn't my book. That was your book.
it was
So I
a
love
book.
that book.
It was a good book.
And we did name the dog Snow Crash, so I'm not saying it isn't a book.
A young lady's illustrated primer is a little too long.
Yeah, again, your book. And I might do, what I'm reading now, and then things I've loved from before.
You have the most interesting interest in books. Your selection of reading
Material.
I think is probably, outside of the, the easy low hanging stuff like what you like Harry Potter, right?
Well, I mean, yeah.
Yeah. And, you could go and say, well, she's a fan of Xanth, and that probably wouldn't be too big of a stretch for most folks. Go,
So that's a very uncomfortable book to reread right now.
It is. Some things you can't go back to, like there's just things that are lost in time, like Smokey and the Bandit. That was a thing in time that you can't go back and revisit without feeling the pain of that time sharply.
Right?
Cannonball Run, another one of those.
So little decisions that I'll make that kind of will help make these feel still like books is I'll kind of curve the brushstrokes here so that they feel a little bit like a spine. I'll tell you what, rereading Xan to my kids, I have definitely PC'd it.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy stood the test of time.
Oh, it really did. That is a book that was super influential, I feel, for me.
Yeah.
So they're kind of distant books, right?
Well
Isn't that
World.
nice?
You liked Well World?
I did. I love Well World because Mavachang awoke. Okay, so on the top, they'll have more light on them. So up top, I'm going to do more of a kind of light color, like a gray. And again, I'm not trying to do anything perfectly, but yet when we're done, it's going to look extraordinary. Painting fantasy is kind of one of those things that...
You read the Pern books, didn't you?
I did read the Pern books. I don't know that the Pern books stuck with me. I mean, they're good.
Yeah, they didn't.
No Pern fans, lose your mind on me.
Yeah, no, it's okay. But just you're just going through your,
Yeah.
While we're talking about books, we may as well just touch on some Sherpa stuff, like what books you read.
What books we read? Well, right now I have a whole list of books I'm reading.
All right, so what's your number one right now?
Right now, okay. Those who know are going to crack up because I'm so obsessed with it. I'm reading the Demon Codex series by Annette Marie, and I'm obsessed.
Yeah, I have to say,
Obsessed.
I have enjoyed her commenting on this with other friends.
I'm obsessed.
And it's a pretty good book. I've come in when you doing some audiobooks of it.
Yeah, but
What
you
was
always come into my weird audiobooks when the book gets weird, like it was combat, then adult stuff. And I'm like, it wasn't like this when I bought it, and it was combat until you walked in.
Yeah, I always walk in the heavy breathing sequences.
Like The Land, right? Chaos
Oh,
Seeds.
that's so good.
Not a romance novel on any level, and
No,
it's
but the
very
one-
good. But the
that's
one
right.
time he walks in, there's a thing going on.
Yeah, it's true. That was the first time. But then The Land is pretty good.
Yeah, The Land is pretty good. John likes The Land too. He's not. I mean, I guess reasonably so. Not as big on Annette Marie as I am. But I'm sorry. I would just like this. The Demon Codex. I want to take the main character and like make a Netflix series out of it.
Oh, I'm
I
sure
want him
that's
to like
happening.
go to like, Universal Studios. I want to take him to the coffee shop. I want to just anywhere. See how we have books that kind of just magically appeared?
The magic books.
Magic books.
You know, there. Okay, so never
Hmm.
mind. I
I'm
was
gonna
just
sip
gonna
my
say there's a
coffee.
really great
Hopefully, I
WoW
probably need
level.
it refreshed.
I'm trying to remember whether it's it begins with a K. It's one of those dungeons that had amazing piles of books all through it, and that just sort of reminds me of that WoW level.
That's actually pretty good. I'm gonna dry that,
Okay.
and then I think I would love a microwave in my coffee, babe.
Okay. So, those books piled up in those cool. Someone, that you guys. It's so nice to see you guys out here. So nice to see everyone joining us, and yeah, the don't use heat on this. Lowest heat settings. I don't know what else I need to go over here. Generally speaking, what is she doing over there? Oh, she's just they're not. She's making a face at me. Why is she doing that? Being silly. So here I am. Karazhan. You're right, Karazhan. What's that?
I kind of secret city'd my books here. I gotta.
Did you?
Yeah, I gotta kind of more extreme the perspective on this one. There we go. When you secret city, you gotta pay attention to that weird stuff. So, what I'm really trying to do is just make sure that my eye line feels like I'm standing back and standing on the ground. What about 10, 15 feet back?
Now, Cupcake had a question here.
Hi, Cupquake.
Cupcake, not Quake.
Okay.
I think
Cupcake.
isn't Cupquake like a gamer?
Yes, but she has fans.
Yeah.
And they
So
also
this
quake.
This is a
in the
cupcake,
cups.
kind of like the the confection. So
Is this laser cupcake?
no, just a regular cupcake.
Hi, regular cupcake. How are you today?
There's so many cupcakes out there.
Just your all beautiful cupcakes. Microwave my coffee.
Okay. So Walt, didn't you explain? Is abstract a student paint?
Okay, technically it is. And the thing about student paints is economy paints, paints that are less expensive than, say, some of the high-end professional paints, for the most part, are a nightmare. They come out like cottage cheese. They are thin on pigment. They are not like any of the colors that are on their labels. They separate. There's just a lot that goes wrong. That being said, there are companies out there that take their paint making responsibility very seriously. And when they make a more economy paint, they don't completely throw out the idea you have to have quality with it. So there are good paints in every type of paint that's out there. And understanding what you want is what's pivotal. So with this paint, here's why I like it, is that I very much enjoy the saturation of the color. I like that they use similar pigments between the pro line and the student line, so my students can upgrade easily without difficulty across lines when they feel like it. I like that the white is quality. I like that the black is quality. There's just a lot about it that's wonderful. Wunderbar. So, and there's some other good ones. I have, if you go into my group on Facebook, the Art Sherpa Official, there's like a bunch of Art Sherpa groups. I'm the Art Sherpa Official. All the Art Sherpa groups are wonderful. It's just that one is run by me. There's a file that lists all the paint companies, like all of them that make acrylic, and then it says what paints I like. And there are many paints that I like. And then there are paints that are not listed in the ones that I like, but I don't comment on one way or the other, either because I don't like them or because I haven't tried them. But I don't tell you what it is.
Yes. Cupcake says, cupcake, not a muffin. That's the important difference.
Cupcake is not a muffin. There's no bran in cupcake. Good, because it's just bran. Why would anybody do that?
All flour.
I'm going to do some stuff here now.
All right.
I'm going to take my red, and I might even get a little of my yellow into it at first. And I'm going to come over this black, and I'm going to start to kind of glaze this over. And what's nice about this is we're going to pick up that there's red, but it's going to be in shadow. And that's one of the reasons why I was like, oh, cool. Right? I can come in and create this little book cover, and letting it glaze over it lets me have that in shadow. But as I come over just the gray area.
What do you mean by glaze over?
where I'm kind of doing like a transparent layer, you can kind of see what's underneath.
So let me zoom in here.
Yeah.
So you're letting
Yeah.
it show, the bottom
I'm letting
show
what's
through.
underneath show. I'll make that just right there. There we go. Now we have a slightly red book, right? Back over with some more rich paint. And then, of course, as it dries, you can come back over with another layer and really brighten it up. So that's one. Next one, I think, should be what? Blue? Blue. Let's go blue.
Blue?
Let's make it blue.
All right.
Let's make that blue.
See, if we had thought about this ahead of time, we could have done something clever, like put a polygram into the secret book colors. So, like you could have Roy G. Biv, red, red, yellow, orange, green, blue.
We could have done that. But I think for this, what we want to do is create bright books.
Bright books.
That feel a little fairy tale-ish. I'm definitely going to mix my Naples yellow with my cad yellow for this next book. And you'll see that I'm kind of pulling that forward. And then I'll come through here. Stepping stones. It's looking good. Well, I think the next one just has to be green.
Green?
Mm-hmm. But like a super bright green.
Super green.
Super green. Because there's a lot of green in the forest, so we're gonna.
It's so green. It's ruby rod.
Oh my gosh, we always tell that joke too. Yeah.
Well, if you've been here a minute, you know that we like The Fifth Element.
Yes, we do.
And pretty much all of the actors in it.
I think I'll go ahead and do like maybe a little purple. That one could have like a purple spine, right? Now I may have to come back and create a highlight at the top of that. That's really noticeable. I don't mind. It's okay. Let's get some pink here. I'm going to just pink book. Why is it pink? We don't know. We'll find out later. And we'll really make that happen with highlights. And I guess back into a red. And then maybe back into a yellow. These are far away, so they won't have to be as bright. So how we're going to make those happen is where we highlight them. We have a little detail here that makes these feel more real. Do they feel booky? Are we happy with books?
Oh, yes. Everyone's loving the books.
Completely unplanned.
Books. The books have it.
All right. Let's give these books some pages.
We might have a few librarians among us.
Well, look. Books are real books, right? They are magical transportation devices.
In Magicians, they certainly treated the books as a very pinnacle of magic.
They are something special. I'm going to go ahead and get my red on here. I'm going to come back and sort of dry brush. I'm just using a bright here, number 8 bright. And that's a number 8 in this line. A number 8 and another line could be completely different, right? Ruby satin number 8. So know that really whenever you're watching a tutorial, a lesson, or anything, really look at what the teacher has in their hands. And then compare the size of that brush to their hand. Because the numbers are not always that helpful. Is like that. Oh, top of head. Now I'm going to take a little bit of this red and I'm going to mix it with my yellow because I want a kind of brighter red at the top, more highlighted.
Oh, yeah. That kind of gives an aged look to your book.
Yeah, so we do. We have a little bit of a aged look to the book. We have some value to the book. I can come in and even add a little Naples yellow and pull up even a little more value. See? But it's Twilight, so it doesn't have to be super bright. And you'll be surprised, the books do take a little bit of work, but once they're in and we put the like ferns and forest all around them, they will integrate just beautifully. I would have been tempted, like, where this, like, not like you guys gave me some ideas and then I just made a painting from it.
Yeah.
I might have been tempted to collage some reading, like, pages of a book down here to make the path look like it's made of pages.
Yeah.
I say this to you because, you know, you're not teaching a live show, you at home. And since that's true, you don't have to, you know, worry about time. You can be like, oh, yeah, I'll go get some book material. I got time to collage that.
Oh, yeah.
There we go. And maybe a little bit of this. And see how we get that, just highlight it. Top of the stair. This kind of just teaches you about stairs. And here's what I'll tell you. If you do stairs inside a house, you need to get your T-square out and plan your perspective. If you do stone steps up a path or book steps, you do not have to do that as much. It's rather nice. So just, you know, you have creative freedom. I'll have to think about what books I want to put in my staircase. What really made me who I am. Because, you know, I certainly have had some books. There's been so many important books my mom read to me a lot when I was a kid. And then made sure I read all the time. You know, which was a serious blessing. So, make this a kind of darker binder. I might even come in with some blue on that. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some white and purple. I'll come to the top, even more noticeably white and purple. So it's still the color, but you can see the highlight. Pink. White there. So what's happening to me now as I go up, it's sort of changing the positioning of my books, but all I'm trying to do here is show the spines and the highlights of the steps.
Huh.
No, I don't have to be that perfect about it. All right. And then this distant little book that we barely can see. And lots of little plants will be over it. So there we go. Our basic books are in. Back into my really cool mop brush. So I'm going to put some distant trees and some distant effects, and some of that's going to be about making sure that I've got, you know, foliage and shapes of landscape and everything. I'm going to grab a number 10 bright. This is a Ruby Satin Bright. I'm going to get this wet. I'm going to come in with my green, maybe even a little of my blue. And I'm going to make a little mountain here. These decisions have to be made. I'll go ahead and make sure that that has a bit of a rough edge to say plants, 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 plants. We'll get in there in a minute and make plants, 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 as you do. And then I'm going to maybe continue that here. And again, we will be coming over with plants, so the edges of these will all be with plants. Little turquoise here. Just keep going. We'll make a little lit path there. When we do the magic sparkles is when it's going to get like really cool. Man, I took on a big thing with these books, didn't I?
You did.
I did. Why not? Let's do that live. That's always a good idea. Take on a big challenge without pre-sketching live. Why not? Because the thing is that you can do this. You know, sometimes the biggest part of working from your imagination is feeling comfortable just going with the idea and being much less worried about a perfect result as much as getting an idea across. Because if you love something, even if it doesn't execute perhaps the entire way that you would like it, that's not too bad, right? I'm going to take maybe a little of my blue and my purple together. And I'm going to kind of smish this. I think I'm going to start talking about some distant little leaves happening here. Little textures. I love this brush for distant little leaves. You could do a fan brush. You can do a lot of stuff. Let's come here. What I want is you could take a crumpled up piece of paper and get a similar effect. You're creating a kind of foliage in the distance, in theory. Let's do that. See how that works out. The trick will be making sure that there's uneven edges. I don't want to take away all my pink. I want some of that to peek through. All right. Even if I have a lot of kind of low shrubbery, I do want that to sort of show through. So I don't want to take it all out up here at the top, even as I put in trees. I think that I want to, let me look back at this. I'm going to step back and look at this. You guys look at where it's at now too. So we have our books going up over a hill, right? We're going to have a nice little sort of twilight effect going on. We're going to put in a bunch of distant sort of tree trunks. And then I think as we move these trees forward, we'll give them kind of like a green glow. We'll put a bunch of like low plants and flowers, and then we'll put little glow bugs. And if I'm not exhausted and there's time and you guys are still up for it, we might even put a lantern off one of the trees. But it might not happen. Let's see how we feel. I'm going to go ahead and take one of my number 8 cat's tongues, just because it's going to give me a nice kind of effect. I'm going to go ahead and take my blue and a little bit of my black. All right. And I need to make some distant little trees happening here. Now the trick is when you make trees, whether they're far away or up close, right? What you do want is your trunk sizes to vary, right? You do want that. And you want for it to feel like there's just sort of a natural order to things, which means it should be messy and not orderly. See, I'm putting little trees in. Far away trees. Inner forest.
Yeah.
Just brushing in far away little trees. Trying to create sort of irregular growth that you might see in a very magical forest. And then some of these we will make more focal. How's that looking, you guys?
Mm.
So can you see how I'm just slightly making these wider at the bottom? Then as I pull the brush stroke up, I lighten that brush stroke, and that helps me slim that tree. And it's okay that it's very transparent back here for a couple of reasons. One being I still have to light these and shade these to the background. We're going to do a very similar thing that we did for a Stranger Things painting that everybody really liked.
I'm going to give a big art high five, Janae.
Hi, Janae.
Thank you for everything, John and Cinnamon. And thank you for being an awesome patron supporter. We really appreciate it.
So much.
Help us keep our little channel going.
To do these weird paintings.
These weird paintings.
I think this is going to be really pretty when it's all done. I think it's going to be really, really pretty when it's all done.
Where are you going? There you are.
I have to get back and look at it because, like, I have to say to myself, is that enough? Is that not enough? Do we feel like it did good? Or I'm going to do a little more blue here. Try to balance these guys out. Now, one thing I can do is I can kind of come into my color there that I want it to be a little bit like what the background is. And I'm going to come to the tops of some of these. And I want it to be darker, a shade darker than what it's against. But it will be a little bit of that same kind of sky color. And then I'm going to want to maybe get into my pink a little bit. Add a bit to the tree. See how we're doing?
Yeah.
Just a little bit to the tree.
Now, do you keep changing your grip forward and backwards on the brush, getting it closer and farther away? Why are you doing that?
Probably when I'm up on the canvas, I move my hand forward to get a little more control, and then when I'm back and I'm trying to get a view, I'll move my hand back up the canvas.
Mm.
I'm glad I didn't see how much I could paint in an hour. That would have been terrible.
Well, we're 10 minutes till an hour.
Oh, okay. Then we're doing actually quite good. This was pretty much where I expected it to be. So we kind of see those little pink. It just makes a difference, yeah?
Yeah.
It just makes this amazing difference, you know, that's going on. Now I'm going to take, I may need new water soon, but I'm going to take my cleanest water and I'm going to take a number 4 round, right? And I'm going to come in here and get a little of my green and a lot of my yellow, maybe even some of my Naples yellow. I want it to be quite light. You could also just add white, right? Trying to find that color. But I'm also just trying to find that value. And I'm going to add a bit of this green highlight to the inside of the tree. And I'm going to highlight this right side of the tree. Why am I highlighting the right side of the tree? Because I'm going to say that the strongest light value kind of is coming from there.
Getting all your trees in there.
Yeah, and where I need to strengthen them back up again or make them more tree-like, I'll take them into the green. And then I'll still go back into the highlighting color. I'm getting a little white and yellow again to strengthen that. I like it.
I like it too.
It's looking pretty good. Now I'm going to take a little bit of my black here while everything is having a dry. And I'm going to come along some of the bases of my books. And just make sure that I've got a little highlight going. And shadow. Just trying to create that pop. It's looking pretty good. If you had gold leaf, that can be kind of a fun thing to do.
Ooh, yeah.
I don't, so I'm going to take a little bit of my white and yellow. And I'm going to come here and
Gonna leaf it yourself.
just imply it. Probably would have different leafing, but there you go. So all the way up the stairs is a little bit of leafing. Does not love that, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to take a little of my white and yellow too. And come in and highlight some of the top edges. A little bit. Well, all this is having a think, because it needs to think about what it's done.
Yep.
I'm going to load up my very favorite leaf maker. I'm going to go ahead and add a little purple to this, but I want it to definitely be more into the magenta. I need to add white, I will. Sometimes it helps, you know, show what the color is. Sometimes I need to kind of mush this up.
Get it all mushed open.
Yeah. There we go. And then I just find its little bush kind of space. And this will help put some of these maybe into... You could also do like any little scumbly brush that you have, a deer stippler. You're just trying to... You could use a sea sponge. You're just creating this foliage effect. And by doing this, we kind of layered it. Which I very seriously much like. I'm going to rinse out. And now I'm going to really get into my turquoise green. Right, my very blue green, and maybe even kind of get a little yellow into it. I'm going to make this first pass on my forest floor. It will be a deeper color, as you can see. And I'm going back and forth on my brush. I will probably use something a little more delicate near my books, but I'm trying to create that soft sense of forest floor. You know, forest floors, we used to have those, right? And this is the first kind of pass at that. I might pull this forward. How is everybody doing?
Really good.
Is this interesting?
Very much so.
Tomorrow, we have a planned live.
We have a planned live?
Yes, that is a very specific reference that we're doing.
Claire thinks you make this look so easy.
Well, it wasn't, unless you count the decades it took to get to a space where this wasn't terrifying, right? Because certainly there was a time in my life where there's no way I would have painted live in front of people without a really structured plan going on in my head. And if I did, I'd have gotten like whatever my most intense tools were out for it.
Intense tools?
I'd have gotten, my serious biz. Serious biz. Now I'm going to take my cat's tongue because it's a bit slightly more controlled brush. And I'm going to make sure that as I come here with this deep color, I'm not taking out my little books that I've worked so hard to put in, because I want very specific foliage or trees or things around them. Think what had happened if you guys had said extra flowers.
Extra flowers.
I think everyone was like, I hate flowers. I don't want to do flowers. Now they're going to be like, I'm just going to say extra flowers.
Yeah.
Next time, because clearly.
You need extra flowers?
Yeah. They would have been like, oh, that is not as hard as I would think it was going to be. I'm going to take my black, again, in my blue. These are more focal trees, right? So these are going to be trees that, really, really make our forest. So let's put one, maybe right here. I'm going to end up painting out a tree. Gosh darn it. Happens.
This is the tree that makes up your forest.
This is a tree that makes up the forest, certainly. All right, and let's get perhaps another little well thought out, conceived little trees around, right? Not as many as what we had in the background, because we want to do some room to have our plants. We want some room for our plants, and we want some room for our sparkles to travel through the forest. So if we over tree it,
there's no room to frolic.
There's no room to frolic. There you go. I am not going to tree this side. I'm going to have this being like kind of falling over plants and stuff, perhaps. Let's see if this tree works out. I like it when sometimes the trees join like low at the trunk. You know what I'm talking about?
Uh-huh.
Oh, down here at the bottom. So those need to dry a minute. I need to dry a minute. I need fresh water, my dove.
I can get that.
Probably. Okay, so any questions while Donna's getting me fresh water?
Let's see.
It's going to be so pretty when it's done.
There were some questions up here. Any suggestions for how you are brushing out your soap? They were talking about processes for washing your brushes.
Oh, so if you go to the artsherpa.com and you go to the blog and you search the word soap, you're going to see a thing about the soap that I make. But that's not the secret sauce of that particular blog. In that blog, got it? In that blog, I have instructions on how to wash your brushes correctly, step by step. And actually, that is posted where even I sell soap. And here's the thing to know about this, guys, is like whether you buy my soap or whether you use Dawn, the technique of washing your brushes is the first most important thing. Well, the first most important thing is that you wash your brushes after every session because acrylic destroys your brushes. And you've got to get that paint out of your brush. You've got to get it out of the brush. You've got to get it out of the ferrule. You've got to get it out of the filaments. And you want to rest your brush and shape your brush correctly. So the next time you paint with it, it's like what you bought. And when you know how to wash brushes, you can reshape a brush that gets damaged back into its original shape. I have recovered completely solid brushes that were solid from, totally solid from varnish. So all that information is there, and it is a really good question to ask, and it's such an important thing. And that you as a student doing that, making a color chart, washing your brushes, they actually save you money. There's a lot of things that we think save us money, like, oh, I'll buy this cheaper version of a product, or I'll do this other thing, I'll get less than what I need. But first, if you make your color chart and you take care of your tools, in the long run, you'll find, wow, that saved me hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars over time.
Swatching is a money-saving activity.
It is a money-saving activity because you know what you're up against, right?
Yeah.
You know what you're into.
You know what you got.
You know what you got. You know what you're into. I'm using my dirty water to wash out my nice little sweet bushy brushes. We love our bushy brushes. So I got a little glow going on. Do we feel twilighted?
I think so.
All right. Feel twilighted. Now I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get into my cat's tongue, and I want to create kind of like maybe ferns and things sort of going over, and I want like spaces for glows. So that's really going to be about getting into my green and my yellow and my green and my Naples yellow and starting to make these little marks. See, I'm using the corner of my brush. And these are little curve marks. Let me kind of show you on the back what I'm doing. So see the brushes here?
Yeah.
I do this a lot. The ability to make small and bigger marks is the big deal here. So if you guys think you can handle that, you can actually handle creating a lot of space that feels like maybe like a layered little fern kind of space. If that makes sense. Because, we want that layered little fern effect. Now, what could be here? Now, again, you guys didn't ask for extra flowers, so next time you'll know to ask, won't you?
I think that I will have to go back and look. There may have been some requests for extra flowers.
They got here and they were like, no, we need the flowers. I'm going to add a little white and yellow to this. Let's come here.
can never have too many flowers.
I actually think that's probably very true. But it's very ferny, isn't it?
It's like Fern Gully. It's just missing a little bat.
Oh, Miss Robin. Robin made me smile. Coming back with some dark green. It kind of creates a little sense of depth in that, doesn't it? That's quite lovely.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm going to come here and
This gully is full of ferns.
it's full of something.
Books.
And books. Come here and think about what we want there. Get real dark over here. And sometimes when you go and get real dark, that's what you can do. You come with your blue and your purple.
Uh-huh.
You come the outside edge and that will darken it up. You can get that much darker. And then you can take your, your blue and your green. Maybe even a little of your Naples yellow. And again, let's speak to a little bit of highlighted plants that are coming along that part of the rinse out. I'm going to take my white and blue, my phthalo blue and my white. Again, we're just pulling back these little textures. We'll come back and we'll glow them up in a little bit, but we want the little textures first. First, you want some texture. Then you want to see. Okay, on my tree trunks. Let's get a little green going. Let's come on the inside of the dark tree trunk, and it'll almost be invisible to our camera, but it will not be invisible to your
I
eye.
can see a little green there.
Yeah. And come in and do that. Oh, that's pretty.
Yeah.
Thumbs up if you think it's pretty, or wait until the end and then decide, because all paintings kind of have a crazy stage and then they come together and it's like, what? So see how I'm brushing this green right over here? I'm able to do this because I understand some fundamentals about landscape, right? Like distant things are softer and closer to their background sky color. Twilight has generally soft, kind of glowing, pinkish, orangish, reddish, sometimes even kind of a turquoise, but it's glowing down in a, deeper top. I play with it by making it blue.
Mm.
I can exaggerate it, but that's basically what you're getting into. And I'm going to come in here and really into my brightening that up. And where I got messy with that stroke, all I've got to do is clean my brush, and just come up and clean it up. And if I find that I need a smaller brush, all I've got to do is come here and add a lot of white. Let's add a lot of white to this. It makes really kind of a magical little color. And let's really highlight these trees. And I'm making this sort of up down. You see that little stroke that's kind of like bark? So
Kind of makes them.
short strokes. Yeah, I am close up on my handle because I want a lot of control. And now that tree has a bit of that kind of crazy glow. What books would you guys have on your staircase? The one that
There's
made
been a
your
lot
childhood
of book
great and
discussion. A
yeah?
lot of book discussion. I've got a long list of books that I'm gonna have to go check out here. Where are you?
I'm just getting
Oh,
some very bright yellow and white kind of mix to just put in here just to change it up. Dry brushing, a back and forth little stroke. Come back again with my blue. Making it dark again. So it's, yeah, we've got black out here, but the trick is just catching those values. It'll help us when we go to make our glows. And I love making glows. Who likes to make glows?
everybody likes making glows.
Everybody likes making glows. Glows are fun to make. A little blue in my purple.
Yeah. I think that we're gonna see a lot of really interesting book designs from people. Lots of different titles.
I hope so. Because I think that that's what's interesting.
Mm.
You
It's
know,
certainly
for
the
sure,
interesting.
I've got to include Zealous in my current.
It's a spin for this time for sure.
I've got to do that because, you know, is fan. I am fan. I'm going
Mm.
to grab a bristle brush. So this is a number 8 Cambridge. Now, before you stress yourself out on this brush, realize that what I'm talking about here is a hog synthetic bristle mix. In other companies, make hog and synthetic bristles, but if you can go find these online, this particular website for Silver Brush has a brush finder. I know a lot of stores still have these in stock. If you can't find those, find a good hog brush. Simply Simmons makes one, and it's, you know, a bunch of places. So they're out there. But what you want is that sort of hog, scratchy, roughy, scumbly, yummy kind of thing. And I'm going to go ahead and get into my blue here. And I'm going to start to create my other part of my softish foresty floor. All right. And with my blue, if I need more blue, I get more blue.
There you are.
See how I'm going? And that's also part of what will make this feel a little bit magical is this green, the blue, the turquoise, the play against these colors. Play with the colors. Magical forests are not really that hard. Believing in yourself to do a magical forest can be very hard. It can be very challenging, can't it? And we're just making this. The reason that this is wonderful is it makes a very nice soft background. Went and got into the little green and white. This is kind of that mossy, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
The mossy moss that happens out there. And you want a soft, diffuse line. Now I feel like here, I kind of want to exaggerate some stuff. So I'm going to get my turquoise color. Kind of imply a walkway up to it, right? I'm going to get maybe some of my Naples yellow in this. That isn't too bad. So already now we've got a little bit of lightened area around the path. Looking at it, I can see I want it to darken up a bit. So I'm going to go back into my turquoise and come along here and just make sure that there's a sort of darker value. Yep, that's happening. Shadow, which can just is wonderful to create with the purple. See how we're doing that?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe under this book. A little bit of shadow here. And start. Whoop.
Okay. Man, I just
There.
thought my
I'll
camera
make
went
myself a
wonky.
little bit more comfortable. Sometimes I paint so I don't change your orientation. But it does make my experience a little less comfortable, and I like to come back and kind of give some depth. So let's look at that, see where we're at.
That looks pretty good.
It's not terrible. It is not in any way terrible.
Over there.
Add some little pops of. Gotta make sure these brushes don't get too wet. Because if they do, it just makes the whole technique kind of fall apart. Think about that in some places. Let's don't think I'm gonna do a lantern.
Yeah. I think it looks, yeah.
I think I'm gonna add more like fill and worry about that. If that makes sense. I'm taking deeper green and I'm just trying to make sure that these soft little plants,
Yeah.
right, feel as if they maybe some green here. There we go. How fun is that? Now, I do think that I'm going to want to kind of create some little foliage along the trail here. A little more focal. This is my round, number 4 round. I'm taking some purple into my green. It makes a very nice dark shadowing color. That's not bad. That gives us a little bit of
Yeah,
fun texture. I'm going to get my bright pink. I took pink and white. Make some bigger. Make some smaller. The trick is you want them to be kind of bright. We're going to do some things to help with that. Now I usually have a kind of fluid white that I like to use. That is not out of its box yet. So I'm going to be using these colors. It'll be fine. Let's get some of our, maybe some of our Naples yellow could be good. Little potential glow. Wherever you have a glow, the thing to realize is that you will be not only making a radial light around it, but you have to cast light on the ground.
yeah.
And other places where it is. Let those have a little bit of a dry. I'm going to go ahead and get a little of my white and blue together, loosely mixed. And I think I'll add some little flowers to the plants coming up the way. You see those little flowers? Little blue flowers. Maybe a lot more white into that. Highlight some of these. I think you do. Everywhere, because they'll be in shadows too. And I'm going to take out my yellow. And it gets a little blue in it, so it's already kind of green. Let's add a little bit of a bright green to the foliage in here. Just to help it pop and stand out from its background. That's not bad. Now, we can do another layer of pink on top, and I'll show you what I mean. I can take my pink and come over some of my dots. Just trying to saturate that color. Can you see those colors?
Yeah.
Little dots.
Wow, this is really coming together.
It looks not bad, right?
Yeah.
I think my plants here, though, need another little layer.
You need a little plant.
Yeah. And we'll get into the deep green over that purple, which will really pop. It will feel like deep foliage. In the background of our painting. And it's just about kind of getting those little thick little paint marks and just enjoying them as you do. Now I can go over my little yellow dots with yellow. And I think it would be a good idea to kind of dry these before doing the glow effect on the
Okay.
lights. You guys ready?
Yep. Yeah, just quickly give them a quick little dry over to make sure they're thoroughly dry. That way, if you have any little dollops of paint, when you start to do the glow, you don't drag any little wet bits of paint off and cause little smears unexpectedly. So it's good just to go ahead and just quick dry them off. Make sure that that's not going to have any problem and you don't smear any paint anywhere. And thanks for coming and hanging out with us. You know, it's really nice just to have an ad hoc get together on a, well, I don't even know what is today, a Friday? I think it's a Friday. I don't know what my day. Yeah, it is a Friday. Look at that. It's Friday the 15th. That's in the middle of May. So there we are.
How's that going?
I think it's going pretty good. Let me go back and my. How you doing?
Now I'm going to, I think I'll probably use a small bright.
Small bright?
Yes, maybe, or a small cat's tongue. I just want a brush where I can kind of get a little corner worked in. Find the brush. I guess I'll just use it around. All right, so I'm going to take some of my white out. Add a little pink to it. It's just a very soft pink, see? And then I'm going to come in here. You see those?
Yeah.
Just a little bit of it going up off the thing. Sometimes the glow gets to be a little much for me, so.
Got power glow.
Got a little powerful.
Someone's like, "How are you chatting at the same time that you're live?" That's because Stunt Hands is chatting sometimes.
Oh yeah, it's. Are you chatting as the Art Sherpa?
I think that's probably because
Oh,
I
okay.
said something in the
In a premiere,
console.
in a premiere, when you see the Art Sherpa, that's me. That's me chatting. But in a live like this, a live stream, when you see me chatting, that's John.
Yeah, that's just me on the admin control panel. And I'm not on my own window, so sometimes I forget which window I'm typing in.
It's not terrible.
No,
Not great yet, but it's not terrible.
I think it's pretty great.
I have to put that pink dot back. You took my pink dot away. It's like, there is no pink dot for you. Now, I mean, like normally I would really, I have some gesso. I bet I could use my gesso to make my little dots with the dotting tool. You could use craft paint too, by the way. It's fantastic because it's a nice fluid paint. So I feel like if you look past at the past challenges versus this challenge, I feel like we did better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like this.
Yeah, I mean, the other ones were super fun, but I think this one came out better.
I think this turned out really good.
While I am dotting these, does anybody have any questions about where we're going, or does it all seem so crazy?
Let's see here. They were asking, when are we going to have some more soap available?
I don't know, John. When are we going to have some more soap available?
We'll have to see how the gnomes in the shipping locations say about that, because, some of this is, we're shipping dependent on some of this. So right now we're waiting for the gnomes to restock our product in the various stores and the fulfillment areas. So what I would say is stay tuned and keep an eye out on their website.
Same bad time, same bad channel.
Yeah, just keep checking our website, theartsherpa.com, on the store there, and that's probably where we'll restock it first. You can always check there.
This is gesso.
What is gesso?
Gesso is normally a preparation for your surface.
I hear it's toothy.
Yeah, it's very toothy. It's generally some type of pigment, polymer, and like a chalk or a marble, hopefully not anything too crazy, that lets your surface be toothy and absorb it and pull acrylic paint. You do not need to gesso every canvas that you have. That is not necessary. But when you want gesso, gesso is fantastic. That being said, it is in a pinch.
Oh, we jump in there.
Fluid paint. I am using my dotting tool from my Galaxy set. You would use a toothpick if you didn't have it. That was my hairdryer. But I like the other dots. Whenever I do a thing, I like to include some dots like this. Just to kind of, I don't know. I feel for me, Sparkle Magic looks better.
It magics the path. I like it.
These are like little dusty sparkles, and then these are little focal sparkles, which I'm gonna show you some tricks to zhuzh them. Like if you have not grabbed even some cheap neon paints, a few cheap neon paints are a good idea to have around.
Just for your accents?
Well, they do some very unique things, and they are a pigment you cannot mix.
Mm.
And they can make a thing look a particular way that nothing else really can, which is kind of totally wonderful. And when I'm trying to make these look like the glowiest glows in the world, and the plants to look like they're aglow, these little tricks can be super, super helpful. Oh, I forgot to write in my titles before I did this.
That's okay. These books, I thought you were leaving these title lists so that people could put their own titles in, and then
there we go. That's what I did. I left it for you. you, my amazing community who puts up with these crazy lives when I just go, you know what we should do today? You guys give me some ideas. I won't practice anything and we'll just make up a painting on the fly. How's that sound?
That sounds good.
But actually, I mean, if I designed this, I would have put it up on the schedule, right? Like if I did it my regular way, this would have gone up. All right. So from here, definitely, I'm going to have John look at the canvas real closely while I grab my hair dryer. And then we are going to, where did it go? Oh, wow, it went far away. It exited the building. So you guys can kind of see where we're at now, right?
Oh, yeah.
This is pretty good.
It's looking really good. Okay, so while she's doing that, making sure that all the little dots that you do don't get smeared, you got to go ahead and make sure you dry them surface. So dry them off. Make sure you get them thoroughly set and dry so they don't smear whenever you're doing the next bit of magic, which I don't know what she's going to do in the next bit of magic. So we'll have to stay tuned and see what happens. You know, stay tuned. That's so funny. That's a lot of drying. More drying than I would have thought for the little dots. Let's see, there she goes.
So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my scumbly brush, this one.
Scumbly.
And I'll get this white because it's kind of thin, right? And I will prep this to have a highlight on it.
Oh.
I'm going to put these highlights. All right, we want to highlight in these spaces to show that there's kind of this impact where this stuff is.
Wow. That really came together.
Almost there. I need to dry it again for a longer amount of time so that when I do
More
the glaze, it goes glow.
More drying?
More.
More
I'm sorry,
dry?
guys, but it's almost done.
That's okay. We can do more dry. We just got to make sure that it's thoroughly dry so that when you're in there, here she is. She's going to put some more highlights in there on that tree and that tree. She's going to do it while she's drying. She's going to brush, and I don't know if this is a technique that I've seen her do before where she scumbles while, I don't know what she's scumbling while hair drying. Hair paint drying with the air mover. And that's making sure it's thoroughly dry.
All right, guess what I have?
What you have?
Neon paints.
Neon.
I do. So I have some neon pink. And, you know, the thing about neon paints is, okay, for sure, the best neon paint, just so you know, if you need archival paintings, right, paintings that last a minute because neons can fade very quickly, is Holbein. After that is golden. But beyond, unless you're going to buy golden and Holbein and you're doing it where you want the luminosity to last for like 15 years or whatever it is, use the just regular like glazy neons. You don't need to use the other kind, not necessary. Not necessary at all. Put some yellow out there. Oh, look at that.
So that's some yellow.
It is some yellow, right? And I got a little, I don't know that I'll need it, but let's put out some green. And you can mix these with regular paints, just so you know. So these will mix with regular pigmented paints. And you don't have to put a big investment into getting a few neon colors. Opera Pink by Holbein is one of my favorite on the universe. I've given to my mom. I have gifted it to so many friends. I'm going to get a small bright that I have a little control over. Or this tiny filbert. That seems good. This is a little filbert. All right. You see how that small amount of neon makes a huge difference?
Yeah.
I put the white out so that you can really see it. And you can just use the pink that you have, your quinacridone, because remember it was pretty translucent.
Mm-hmm.
To do this too, I just, the neon has that extra little pop. And if you do put a black light on it, they will glow. We used to do black light paintings on the show. That's just taking a little bit of that pink. And making sure we've got a little bit of that kind of glow. Look at that. And I can see it on that tree even. I think we might need to make that a little more even and believable. So taking a little gesso. I don't want it to feel not authentic. Sometimes it can be nice to even get the yellow into the pink because they do some interesting things. You can see it's just about taking this around each little sparkle and letting them glow. You can kind of see where they are. It's making a bit of a glow too.
Mm-hmm.
I can even come in with like these two, right?
Everyone would love to see some more blacklight paintings too.
They're like, black light! That was fun. That was fun, actually.
We'll do some more of that soon.
Yeah, I like the blacklight painting. And if you ever want to paint with blacklight, now that you're, home, it's just a little trip to Home Depot for a bulb and some luminous paint, and you'll be there. So we're trying to create that sense that, these lights have lit up the ground, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's that second set of lighting on all of our stuff. I think it's also fun to sort of mix them up. Make some bigger. Just kind of implying that there's extra little glow effects there. Who's got a magical empty forest now? Right? We do, don't we? Just painting and brushing that out. You can see, just sort of smooth that out. And you just use this because you know, oh wow, I'm really liking this.
Oh, yeah.
This made me happy.
This turned out great.
Yeah, this I'm super happy about. Oh, there we go. I'm just using a dotting tool. And again, there are a lot of tools in your house, like toothpicks, backs, sharpened pencils, as long as you're gentle and don't, get the graphite on your canvas, that will do these techniques. And, taking that extra little and then I'm going to do an interesting thing. So I have those colors in there. I'm going to come in with my small dot. I'm going to make just a little bit of a little hot spot in there.
Oh, yeah.
So that some of those do have a little bit of shading to them. Why not? We got the paint on anyways.
Yep. Everyone's just so impressed. It just keeps getting better and better and better.
It does. It does. And we had a lot going on, so I'm glad we didn't do the lantern because this is a lot.
That's a lot. It did turn out really good.
Yeah, just a lot going on. So I think that if we were to take my cat's tongue, whoops, and go into my blue and a little of my white and come here. These could be some subtle little flowers that match the other side. Right, while I'm looking, I'll grab a little of my, this rolled through my gesso, or something with gesso touched it. I've taken it into my purple, didn't rinse it out, so it still has white. I don't want to paint out my little dots, but it just seems like that's a nice touch, right?
Yeah.
Now grabbing a little purple and pink. Sometimes it's just fun to play with what you have. Because why not, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, the paint's out. Why not?
Wow, that turned out great.
All right. I'm sure everyone's like tired by now. Ah. This is going to make a nice thumbnail. Step back and give it a look. All right. What you want to do, you want to step back and give it a look-see look. Anywhere that you can zhuzh it up. I say zhuzh, if that makes sense. Because at this point, right, it's a magical forest. And maybe we didn't do extra flowers, but I mean, it's got to feel like the unicorns and stuff can come walk up here. And everyone from Lion Witch in the Wardrobe, and everybody from Xanth, and Robin Hood, and everyone from like The Last Unicorn.
Hmm.
You know? Little ELO going on. Just can't help myself.
It looks great.
Sometimes that's what happens to me. So I'm like, oh, that would be great. I'm just putting little bits of color where, maybe the lights would have caught the flowers a bit, if that makes sense. So you have a little highlight, a little dark, a little highlights, where perhaps there's highlights. Because there might be perhaps a few. But who can resist? I can't. Look at that. Now, if I were a teacher, this is a painting I would really want in my classroom.
Yeah.
Because this is what teaching is, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
This is how it is. This is what books are and education are for all of us. It's no small thing being able to read a book or getting an education, because it opens up a world of imagination and possibilities. I would not be the person I am today if I hadn't read everything by Frank Herbert.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I wouldn't. There's just so many books and so many moments and so many ahas that happened to me through my course of reading. So I think this absolutely does celebrate that and do so in a magic way. And now I'm just staring at it because I'm super pleased with it. That thing you do when you're like, I'm super pleased with it, so I'm staring at it.
We should give it a little sign.
Should we give it a little sign?
Yeah.
You feel like it's almost ready for a sign?
Well, if you're looking at it like that, you're going to need to put your name on it.
I got to give a little shadow to they were very bright, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And you want them to show, but you don't want them to be because it's twilight, so it's not the brightest part of the day.
Yeah.
All right. I guess I'll sign it.
Make it yours.
I'll make it my own. You guys make it your own. I'm going to use a number 1 monogram liner. And I guess I'll get into my ink here and put my moniker on it. My maker's mark.
There we go.
So, how is that?
Wow, that turned out amazing.
I'm super pleased. I'm going to let, when we go, we're going to do our goodbyes, and then John's going to finish by taking a little tour around it so you can see what it is, and I'll get it photographed and a traceable made of it. So if you want to create this for your classroom or the special fan of books or yourself for your reading room, where whatever you're doing with your fabulous painting, by the way, I do think it would be like awesome sauce big.
Mm-hmm.
Like the best painting big. I'm going to go forward. All right, here we go. But I didn't do it right then.
you said, I'm going to go forward. Then
I know. Here we go. Oh my goodness. That was a worthwhile, strange adventure. We've got quite a magical painting to do tomorrow with our sunrise. It was a voted on reference photo that we're going to turn into a painting. I'm going to show you how to do that. It's a little too hoot. I hope you loved today's adventure. Thank you for your input and your votes. I literally would not have painted this today. Was not on my radar. You guys put it there. So I have to say thank you from the bottom of my heart to you for inspiring me to make this painting. Be good to yourself. Be good to each other. And I want to see you at an easel really soon. Here, I don't know where to step if you show them the book thing. How to do that. Where do I go? Don't go?
To your right.
To
Say
right.
goodbye. Say how much you say be good to each other, everybody.
I did. I said be good to each other.
I'm going to zoom over
See
here and
what
look at this
easel
side
was saying?
too. Oh, see, look how good that looks. They're gonna get to have a little out. This will be. I'm gonna zoom in so they can see this because this is so good. Oh, look at that. Those stairways are just awesome. We'll see you guys a little later.
Bye bye.